Hello everybody, EvyBugg here, and today I'm going to be teaching you step by step how to make Francis's favorite Shadow Ranch cake from Nancy Drew's Secret of Shadow Ranch. And no, I'm not trying to do a Shorty Thurman cosplay, although... So one of the reasons that I love this cake is because it's super simple, it's really easy to make, and also it's super easy to make vegan. So if any of you out there are vegetarian or vegan, it'll be really easy to substitute a couple things, and it's really, really yummy. Now I have made this cake before, and it makes a lot of batter. Like you could fill up a 9x13 and it would be like overflowing. It makes a lot of batter. So I'm only going to be doing half of that amount because I'm just a little person. I can't eat that much cake. Also, I'm going to be doing mine as a 2-tiered cake, which they don't do, but my cake tins are a little bit shorter than what they would use in the actual game. And anyway, there'll be little substitutions, but it'll be basically as close as we can get it to the actual cake in the game. So first we're going to go over some ingredients. I will have the original recipe down below with the original amounts and the original ingredients, and I'll also have the substitutions of what I'm using to make it vegan and also cutting the batter in half. So before we get into the ingredients, we're first going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 350. So to prepare the cake tins, what we're going to do is we're going to spray them down with some coconut oil, then we're going to powder them with a little bit of flour, and then we're going to put in our little parchment rounds, and that way the cake won't stick to the sides or to the bottom of the pan. So for the ingredients we're going to be using today, I have a half a cup of vegan butter, a ground flaxseed egg substitute, 1/2 and 1/3 cup of almond milk, 2 cups of flour, a half a tablespoon of baking powder, 1 cup and 2.5 tablespoons of sugar, and a half tablespoon of colorless vanilla. So for the ground flaxseed egg substitute, I added just under 3 tablespoons of water to a cup, which usually you would do the full 3 tablespoons, but because I wanted the egg to be a little thicker for the cake, I did a little bit less than 3 tablespoons of water, and then I added some ground flaxseed. I did 1 tablespoon of that into the cup of water, and then stirred it around, and then you let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a sifter, and we're going to sift in those 2 cups of flour into the bowl. Now we're going to mix in the half tablespoon of baking powder. Give that a little stir around and then set it to the side. Next, in a larger bowl, we're going to mix the butter and sugar and cream those together. Now we're going to add the half tablespoon of the vanilla and mix until creamy. Now that the butter and sugar and vanilla is combined, we're going to add our ground flaxseed egg and mix that together. Okay, now that we have this mixed together, we're going to mix in half of the flour mixture, and we're just going to fold that in a little bit to get it a little bit moist, and then add the rest of the flour. Now you don't want to overmix your cake, so I'm just doing a little bit like this, and then I'm going to add the rest of the flour. Now we're going to mix it just a little bit, and then we're going to begin adding in our milk. Now we're going to add our milk into the mixture. I'm going to do just about 1/3 at a time, stirring in between. Now this cake does make a pretty thick but also very wet kind of batter, so if it looks about like this, it's perfect. Now we're going to separate out our batter equally between our 2 prepared cake tins and pop it in our preheated oven. So now we are going to just pop these cakes right here into the oven until they raise a pretty good height, and then once we stick a toothpick in them, it will come out nice and dry. So the cakes have been in here for approximately 30 minutes, and they look solid, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull them out. We're gonna test them with a toothpick. Okay, we are going to use a knife because I don't have a toothpick, so let's just do a little bit here and see. Oh, it's still liquidy, so we're gonna have to put it in for a couple more minutes. Alright everybody, so it has been another 5 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and check it. Now when I did tap the side, it didn't jiggle at all, so I think it might be done. So let's just go ahead and give it a poke. Oh, and it comes out clean. Perfect, so that took about 35 minutes in total. Alright, so now with the help of another cloth, we are going to pop these cakes out of their tins and put them on the rack to cool. I'm just going to grab it with the hot pad, flip it over onto the cloth, and then pull that off, and then we're going to lay them down. It's a little hot, so be careful. Lay them down right there, and now we've got our beautiful cake. It just popped out super, super easily, and we're gonna let them dry. Now we're going to do that again with the second cake. Flop it over, and then drop them down. So now we're just going to let our cake sit here on the rack and cool. Then we will make our marzipan and our frosting. Okay everybody, so now we have our cakes baked and cooled, and so what we need to do now is we're going to shave off the top of one of these cakes so that it's nice and flat so that we can stack the second cake on top of it. And I'm not going to shave the tops off of both of them. I'm going to leave one just because in the Nancy Drew game the cake is a little bit rounded on the top. It's also a single tier, but like I said, I couldn't really make that work because I didn't have the right pan. Anyway, I've also got a bag of my homemade frosting, which should taste really nice with it. I made like a thick frosting because I was like, thick cake, thick frosting, I think it'll pair really nicely together. And then I also made some marzipan cutouts, so I have red and green for the marzipan flour, and that is cooling right now, and so we'll use those to decorate the cake at the end. And I don't really have like a good cake platter or anything to put this on, so I'm going to just be using a regular plate just turned upside down so that it's nice and flat so that we don't have to worry about these like weird edges and everything. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get the cake on here, and then we'll see you back for the decorations on top. Okay everybody, so I'm not sure if you can tell from the time lapse, but my icing apparently was no match for the heat in my apartment, and it was like falling off, dripping off of the cake. So yeah, if you're gonna be doing this, don't do it in a very hot environment. Now we at least have it frozen enough. I threw it in the freezer as quick as I could, and now hopefully it's frozen enough to put the decorations on the top. Alright everybody, so here is the marzipan flour that I cut out. First I dyed part of it green obviously, and then red to get the right colors, and then rolled them out, cut the shapes, and I think it actually turned out pretty good. It looks pretty much like it does in the game, so that's pretty cool, and it tastes pretty good too. So now I'm just going to grab the cake, we're going to do a little dollop of icing on the top, and then put this marzipan flour on, and then the cake should be finished. Alright, so we're just going to put a little bit of icing on the top here, just to act a little bit like glue for the marzipan flour. Now we're going to carefully take the flour off of here. It's a little mushy, so this is nerve-wracking. Cake is melting and falling apart, the marzipan is melting and falling apart. Don't do this in the summer or fall or where it's warm. Oh, but hey, it's on! Yay! I think that looks pretty good. I'm just gonna kind of mush it on there a little bit. Alright guys, that is our Shadow Ranch cake done. I'm actually quite happy with how it turned out, even though it is melting and lopsided. But you know, that's just part of the fun. Alright, now let's go ahead and cut into it. It's really pretty though, I'm sad, but no, we're gonna cut right into it. Are we ready? Alright everybody, the last thing left to do is taste it, so let's just give this a little bite here. That is really good. The cake is really nice and moist and rich, but it's not like too sweet. And the frosting, even though it is melting and falling off the cake, does pair nicely with it. I think that tastes pretty good. Let's go ahead and give our camera person a little bit of a bite. Alright, here you go. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Awesome, thumbs up. Okay guys, now you can go ahead and try this recipe at home if you'd like. Try a frosting that doesn't melt in your apartment, and that, you know, will probably help. Anyway, go ahead and have fun with it. It's a pretty good cake, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!